Is that LT1 I was talking about? What we need here. Oops. I am so excited to get to work on this project. If you're just joining us, this is my 2001 Trans Am WS6, and I got big plans for it. Right now, it's basically a mostly stock 64,000 mile, 6-speed, leather interior, T-top, bright red car. Really nice shape for the most part. But if we look at the whiteboard list that we created in the last video, there's a couple things, or actually most of this I think we're gonna take care of in this video. I started this video by gathering some parts, hit up the local junkyard to get a windshield cowl. This one is cracked and broken over here and also kind of comes up like that. And then over here, the tabs are completely broken off. So this thing just flaps around in the wind and it's just overall not in great shape. So we're gonna take care of that. I've got some other parts in the way that I'm still waiting for. They should be here, I think, tomorrow. And then there's one other part that I'd like to get into right now because I've been having trouble locating one. And I'd also just like to see if there's any chance of repairing it. And that is, of course, the infamous 4th gen Firebird / Trans Am door panel crack. The passenger side is fine. That door panel is actually mint. That's the reason I got this thing crooked in the lift bay here, is because we're going to be working on the interior to start. You know what, let's take care of that right now. That is terrible. We can fix that. Nope. Yep. A little of that. Ought to fix that. Let's get up here while we're at it too. Why not? How we do? A little better. We'll keep working on that. Anyways, the door panel here. This is what we're talking about. This is a huge crack. This door panel is cracked all the way through. This is really common on these Trans Ams, especially the 98 to 02 variant. I'm not sure what changed between the LT1 cars and these. But anyways, I believe behind here, this piece was secured with staples to this window trim piece, which doesn't allow the plastic to expand and contract, which eventually leads to a crack right here on almost all of these things. In this case, it looks like the driver door, which got more use, then the passenger door cracked. So I've been looking in junkyards, and the junkyard that I went to for the wiper cowl, I was hoping the door panel would be good, but A, it was cracked, and B, it was a convertible, and they left the top down. So it's just been sitting outside with the top down for years. So I don't even think I wanted that door panel. You guys also recall the sun visor was just kind of hanging out in the trunk. The car did have a good sun visor, but the thing was literally moldy from that white convertible. So I just decided to ditch it and see. I might be able to get one on eBay, but I might try and repair this one. We'll get into that in a little bit as well. But the door panels I'm having a hard time locating, especially ones with leather. So right now I'd like to get the door panel off and see if I do find a cloth one, if I can swap the leather guts over. So this part right here, if I find a good condition door panel with just cloth right here, can I swap this leather piece over and make it look nice? And if I can't find that, can we repair this and make it look almost unnoticeable? And then at the same time, we probably should take that door panel off and fix the mechanism there, the staples that cause it to crack, so that this doesn't happen to that mint door panel over there. Also, we've got this rear seat with a battery acid burn in the back. You guys saw that in the first video. Got something for that as well. So with that being said, let's get right to work. Let's blow this door panel off, get to look at that, maybe get into the rear seat, and we'll go from there. Wasting no time on this thing. Door panel is off. Rear seat is out, and I fixed my sun visor for free. Look at that. 4th gens, this floppy thing is always like that. I don't know why they did that, but it stays up. Clearly the reason the previous owner or someone took this off is because it was constantly falling down. You can even see where they put some double-sided tape in an ill attempt to try and get it to stick to the headliner, which, terrible idea. But basically what I did was, there's like a little, obviously a little shaft in here, and then there's like a retaining clip inside of here, and I think it just got loose. So I gently took some pliers and squeezed in this area to kind of tighten it back up, then slid it back on the rod there, and boom. She stays right up, no problem. So, check that off the list. And here I've got the door panel off, and I took off the window seal, or window scraper, or whatever you want to call this thing. And this is what causes this crack, this is reinforced with metal. There's like steel inside of here, and it's basically stapled to the door like this. And the steel expands and contracts at a different rate than the door, and it causes them all to crack right here. It basically just pulls them apart. And then obviously every time you close the door in these crappy 90s cars, you know, rattle, the crack just propagates and gets bigger and bigger. This one is completely cracked all the way through. All the part numbers are here too. I'm guessing this base piece is the same part number for everything, and then the sub part number indicates whether you get, you know, this piece right here is leather or cloth. But yeah, I've learned, and my theory was correct, that I could find a cloth door panel in good shape that's not cracked up here, cracked all the way, or not cracked all the way around, and just swap my guts here. So swap this piece, I can hopefully undo all these little plastic weld things here, and then pull off the leather part and then swap that on to a cloth one, if I can find one for a good price. If not, and I'm probably gonna attempt this anyways, I'm gonna attempt to repair this thing. It's gonna be difficult because it's not like I can sit here and hold it for an hour while some plastic weld cures up. And you would literally need to hold this in such an exact way that you wouldn't be able to see the crack. There's no way you could get a clamp on this that would hold it properly there. So I think what I'll have to do is get another person out here. I'm probably gonna end up picking up one of those cheap plastic welders and seeing if I can have one person hold while I just kind of plastic weld my way down. And then we'll see how it looks. And then if it comes down to it, if we need to, you know, sand this a little bit and then maybe add some epoxy on top. I also found this bumper repair stuff that I used to repair the bumper on the Mach 1, which we can reinforce the back of it. Here's some plastic bonder and plastic welds. Here's some texture stuff from the seat repair kit that I used on the Cobra. So we could use this texture stuff to kind of, you know, lay over the top and make sure we still have texture. And then if it came down to it, I don't know if I have any more of that SEM trim black, but I got a couple of flat black plastic paint options that we could use that would probably get us 95% of the way to what this would look like if it was brand new. So there's the door panel. Got a couple things I'm pursuing there, repair and maybe finding another one. So we'll see on that. On the seats here, got the toasted rear seat bottom out, and I've got two new to me and mint condition ones here thanks to a viewer of the channel. He reached out on Instagram and said I've got the seats out of my low mile mint condition WS6. It looked like he turned it into some sort of street / race car and deleted the rear seat. Car looks sick, by the way. And he was like, you can have them, just pay for shipping. So unfortunately shipping was a little bit pricey because it had to, you know, go in a big box, but he was kind enough to send me both. Because we were like, maybe they'll match better depending on the condition of the leather in mine versus his. So I got both of them, and I think he was a rep or a, you know, worked for 3M in one way. So he sent me some goodies, some cutoff wheels, some grinding wheels, some tape, stuff like that. So huge shout out. So huge shout out to Blake. And we got some new rear seats now. So with the parts that I have now, let's get this rear seat or both seats swapped out, whichever I decide to do. Let's go get a plastic welder, see if we can get this door panel repair started. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep seeing if I can work some deals on a good door panel, whether I can find one locally or see if I can get one shipped. We'll see. Not trying to spend hours and hours and hours in the truck if I don't have to. There was one guy up in Maine that said he had one on Marketplace, and then he just stopped responding. Disappeared. Love that for me. It would be an easy pickup to go get that, but unless he gets back to me, we'll see. But yeah, let's get those seats in, see where we get with the door panel, and just see what comes up next. See what other parts trickle in here. Explain to me what this seatbelt extension is I just found under the seat. Straint buckle extension, manufactured August of '01. It's on this side too.
handle a look down.
Well, it is a brand new day out there. Just kidding, it's Friday afternoon. Happy Friday. But it is a few days later, and I altered the course of this last segment a little bit, if you can't already tell. Got the windshield cowl that I got out of the junkyard at the start of this video off that V6 Firebird. Donated some parts to make a beautiful red WS6, minty fresh again. Of course, couldn't put it on without putting a little bit of paint on it. Went with Krylon Fusion in a satin black. I think that matches pretty damn well to what this would have looked like brand new back in 2001. You know, not a gloss finish, but not fully matte either. And then got all of that assembled back together. More importantly, not cracked over here. Locked in on the little feature over there by the windshield. Same thing over here. Looks brand new. No more flapping in the wind there. So, windshield cowl, done. Went to Harbor Freight. I did get a little cheap plastic welder. If I'd known I was going to be a couple days before doing this, I think I would have got the one on Amazon. I think I liked that one a little bit better, but this should work. But located another door panel. This one is off of, you can tell it's off of a 2000 or 98-02 because of the speaker section right here, and also the color. I believe it's ebony as they call it. Obviously right off the bat, it's got a cloth insert here. And as I discussed, my plan is to transfer the leather guts from the broken door panel to this panel. I ended up searching around on Facebook a little bit more and found a guy out of upstate New York that parts these cars out and has a bunch of them. And he had a good door panel, good driver's door panel, but it was like 4 or 5 hours from me in New Hampshire. And there's no way I can spare 10, 12 hours in the truck to get a door panel. You know, I'd rather just order an expensive one on eBay and have that time back. He said 160 bucks for the door panel, which is a great deal. And I said, any chance you'd want to ship it, otherwise I got to look elsewhere. And he was like, no problem, I can get it out tomorrow. So shout out to that guy for, I think he's a viewer of the channel actually, for not only supplying the door panel, but packaging it up and getting it out quick. So I didn't have to spend any time in the truck or deal with deadbeats on Facebook, you know, from Maine, for example, anymore to get a door panel. So right now, I think I'm going to do what I talked about, which is swap the guts. I already tested my theory a little bit here, and these little plastic welds on the back that hold them in, I think I snipped these off with just like, you know, snips or whatever, come right off, and now you can see the leather part is peeling back off. So I think we just have to go all the way around behind the insulation here, undo those. I don't know if I'm going to snip them all, or maybe I can melt them with the plastic welder or heat gun or whatever. I'm going to find a technique that works. I'm going to separate all this. Actually, I'll probably start with this one and then transfer it over to the good one. You can see it looks like actually the mice got into this guy's stuff a little bit. But I'm going to take all the best stuff from either of these door panels, probably the skin of this one, and then all this stuff transferred over there. We're going to have one awesome door panel for under 200 bucks. Also, just wanted to show you guys where this thing cracks. Let me show you over here first. You can see why this happens. First of all, it's a cheap, you know, 90s Pontiac plastic. But other than that, look at this bow here. I think that's because this piece is trying to expand and it's pushing on this plastic because it's so rigidly secured to the door panel there. Also, any of you guys that, you know, have taken any sort of engineering course about stress and strain will know that this is a terrible design right here. Right here is a thin piece of plastic and there is 0 radius there. So you're basically asking for this to tear, and that's exactly what happens. Any stress on this, crack starts here and then propagates all the way down. And it's not going to stop until it goes all the way through. Same thing right here. There's an unbroken part. It's a sharp radius right there. That's going to crack every time. Actually, looks like it did already. I think that might have happened when I was... Here's a perfect example of it. You know, you put too much stress on there, it cracks right at that sharp joint and just propagates from there. So that's why this happens. That's the design flaw, and not a ton we can do about it. But I'm gonna fix these two door panels, and then I think, like I said, we should pull this door panel off and, you know, I think re-secure it with zip ties to make sure that that door panel doesn't crack in the future. So let's get to work, swapping these guts, making us a good door panel. Warning. Door panel injury. The mirror, like triangle thing there, got me this morning. Many hours of work and a little bit of a mess later, and I have two mint 98-02 Firebird leather door panels. My theory worked. We were able to transfer everything. So here's the guts from the other one. Here's our cloth door panel. Just as I suspected, we were able to grind back everything, eventually pull this thing out, then basically reverse the steps with some plastic epoxy, Plastic bonder, a little bit of the plastic welder. This one from Harbor Freight, junk, by the way. Don't buy it. I'm gonna go return it. It broke like immediately. The tip broke off, but just enough for me to get done what I needed to get done. But the results speak for themselves. Mint driver's door panel. Also, like I said, did my due diligence to take the entire passenger mint door panel apart and basically replace the staples on the window trim here, or the window seal here, with zip ties. Drill a couple extra holes, zip tie them in instead of the staples. That's going to give it a little bit more room to expand and contract, and hopefully prevent these from cracking in the future. And you can see why they crack. This is just terrible design on GM's part all around. First of all, when you close the door, watch how much this thing moves. You know, just rattly GM, you know, American, Ford, whatever, Dodge, doesn't matter, plastic from the 90s, nothing new there. Then we already talked about this, but this is just, I mean, engineering and design 101. You got thin plastic here, and then just right there, you got a stress concentration right at that seam right there. It's like they designed it to tear. They crack every time on these edges right here. You can see where my other one cracked right here. All they had to do was just add a little radius right there, and this problem would probably never happen. But you know, some engineer either didn't think of that, or he did, and his boss was like, nope, that's going to add, you know, $3,000 to the molds, and it's probably going to be fine. Well, it wasn't fine, but whatever. That's where they crack, and I believe that doing what I did with the zip ties and alleviating some of that stress is, you know, the way to fix this. If I wanted to, you might even come in here with a drill or a Dremel or something and like radius those corners, but that's only if they haven't cracked already. Like that one's already starting right there. So this is how this happens. So if you have mint door panels, consider taking them apart and doing this. If you don't, we've just proven you can find one that's cloth that might be a little cheaper and transfer your leather guts over to it. And I'll take it a step further. This part that cracks out here, this outer surround, is the same from 93 to 02, and apparently the 93 to 97 ones don't crack. Maybe they did have a radius there or something. All you had to do, or all you would have to do, is take it one step further. Once you get the leather guts out, knock off a couple more things, and then this whole speaker surround thing comes out, and then you can transfer your 98 to 02 speaker thing here over to your 93 to 97 door panel, and then you'll just have to paint it with like a interior dye, or probably Krylon satin black would even look like a perfect factory match. Put it all back together the way I did, and then you've got a mint door panel. So just a couple tips there for you guys with cracked 98 to 02 door panels that I've just shown, and I didn't find like any information on this on the web. That you can, there's a couple solutions there. Find a good 98 to 02 door panel, regardless of whether it's leather or cloth. Swap over part of the guts, or any 93 to 02 one, no matter what, that's not cracked, and then you just have to do a little bit more work. It is work. This was definitely quite a few hours of work yesterday, but I mean, a mint, if you can even find them, I think I only found one set, and it was both of them, passenger and driver, like leather 98 to 02 door panels, and it was like $800 or $900. So if you can go to a junkyard, get any old 93 to 02 door panel, probably for like 50 bucks, maybe less, and then just make the parts work that you need to work, that's a great deal. I also did fix this cracked door panel with some plastic welding, some reinforced grids back there, and a bunch of plastic epoxy. So now the question is, and I've already taped it off, can I sand this down, somehow add the leather, the fake leather texture in there, and then repaint this whole thing? This thing is destined for the scrapyard, so I don't have anything to lose. So if I have time, maybe I'll show it on video or not. I might try and sand this down, repaint it, and see what kind of results I can get, but we'll see. So, door panels done. Also started peeling off this stupid fire chicken, aka Phoenix there, so we can peel those off the headrest, but we'll get to that. Next, I would like to get to some mechanical stuff. We have the power steering leak, and we have an ABS and traction control light, and I have a feeling I know what that is, and I got some parts here for it. So let's get this thing resituated so it can fit in the lift bay. We'll get it up in the air, and then we'll start tackling some of that stuff. Goes away with throttle. ABS lights off. Power steering. No leaks. Nice. Heyo, we are knocking stuff right off the list immediately here. Had the pleasure of fixing the power steering leak. That's always a fun and messy job, but can explain what was going on over here. Here's the old power steering hose. I think this is the factory lower part that someone then quadruple clamped with some sort of coupler in the middle there. And I think that the reason that this was like this is because from the factory, these cars come with a power steering cooler that is basically part of the upper rad hose. It goes right here. I'll put a picture up on the screen, and you can see that someone replaced it here, or replaced the upper rad hose and deleted the cooler. And I say cooler because it's really a heater, right? I mean, it keeps the power steering fluid at coolant temp, but you know, unless you're on a track, which, you know, a car like this these days, probably not. And they fail all the time, which is probably why it was replaced anyways. So anyways, someone just eliminated that and then kind of cobbled together a return power steering line. So I got a cheap one off Amazon that I think was designed for the original power steering cooler, but with one cut of the line, I was able to get a straight shot right up to the reservoir there. Got a new O-ring seal on the bottom. So this fitting right here has an O-ring, so that's new. This line is new. We probably could have had a failure right at this joint here too. This line's just had it. So for 25 bucks, replace that. Good to go there. No leaks as far as I can see now. Got some fresh fluid in there. Call that done. On the ABS module side, or ABS light side, you guys guessed it. This is similar to the Mach 1 that we just did. We had an ABS light and traction control light on. And I think that it's a common issue on these cars, the 4th gen F bodies, is this Bosch ABS module fails. And so you can get these on eBay. They're like $500, $600, $700 for a good one because it has to be out of an LS1 car and it has to have traction control. So you have to make sure you get the right part number. I found someone selling one on one of the F body Facebook pages. And I figured I'd do a little test here because for some reason I didn't think to do this on the Mach 1, but it's almost always the electronics that fail. And you can separate those by undoing these 6 bolts here on the side, and then you just pull off this electronic module. And then you don't have to mess with these 4 brake lines here and deal with bleeding the brakes and stuff. So I did that. I undid these 6 and then swapped the electronics from the known good module here onto here, of course, disconnect the battery. Got it all back together, cleared the codes, and it appears we're good to go. And I know that we're good to go, or at least all the codes are gone, via the use of my new Topdon scanner. So this is it. This is the Topdon Nano, and this is easily the most powerful scanner I have ever had. I mean, there is like dealership level diagnostics here. You guys want to do ABS bleeding, you want to do airbag stuff, you want to do chassis stuff, regular check engine lights. This is a bi-directional communication, so you can send commands to the car, say, hey, I want to bleed the left brake caliper via the ABS module. You can do that all in here. I don't even know how to use this thing fully yet, but there is tons and tons of serviceability and options on this thing. So in the Mach 1 video, I used this little Topdon, Bluetooth plug-in OBD2 scanner. I actually used this on my father-in-law's truck a few weeks ago. He had a check engine light, brought it with me in my pocket to lunch, and then scanned his truck, had a transmission code or something. So this is great for quick little stuff like that. But you need dealership level diagnostics. I highly recommend you check out the Topdon Nano. This thing is, super light. It's got a little kickstand on the back, full touchscreen. I mean, just tons and tons of functionality. It's got a camera on it if you want to take pictures of stuff. You can look up codes on the internet. This thing has got it all. So between these two, I've got just about everything I need to service a modern computer controlled and fuel injected vehicle all the way up through 2025. Vehicles as complex as Mercedes and the German cars and luxury vehicles, you can do it all the way down to my lonely little trailer park Pontiac Firebird. So yeah, link for that Topdon scanner will be in the description. Up next is right here on the floor. I would like to get a couple sets of keys made for this car because it only came with one set, and it's got that weird aftermarket fob on it. So I went on eBay, bought 2 new fobs, which I think we can program right there in the car by doing some weird sequence of like spinning around 3 times, unlocking the doors, taking one T-top off, and then, you know, jumping out the window. And then we should be able to program those. These keys, if you guys know these F-bodies, have this weird 90s GM resistor chip. And the car will, you could get, you know, one of these keys, get it cut, and the car won't start due to the VATS. I can't remember what the acronym is, like Vehicle Anti-Theft System. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, VATS. But basically each of these keys has a different resistance. I think there's 13 of them. So what you have to do is take your original key, measure the resistance on both sides of this little chip on that metal part, record that resistance, and then find which key is yours. Like I said, there's 13 of them. I think mine was number 8 or something like that. Can't remember what the milliohm resistance was, but I found that, ordered a set of 2 ignition keys and 2 trunk keys so we can have 2 full sets of keys. But I do still need someone to cut these. I did try the minute key at the local Lowe's, and for some reason it didn't work for these. So there's a locksmith nearby that I'm gonna try tomorrow to hopefully get these cut, and then hopefully the resistance is right and we can start the car with these. But in the meantime, let's get the fobs program, and tomorrow we can get these cut and we'll go from there. All right, cycle ignition on, then off. Remove the radio fuse. Then on and off 3 times. 2, 3. Okay, we're in programming mode. Hold, lock, and unlock. Haha! Let's do the other one. Hold, lock, and unlock. Shoo! That was easy. Alright, let's put the radio fuse back in. And yeah, buddy. That was easy. Sweet. Heyo! Worked! Sweet! You know, it's a thing of beauty, isn't it? 2 original looking brand new sets of keys. Ignition, trunk, and fob. X2. Oh yeah. And you know, it's the little things give car guys joy, like restoring a 20-year-old Pontiac with, you know, just some keys. Might seem silly to a non-car guy, or, you know, maybe even some car guys, but I think having 2 original looking sets of keys is one of those little details that really matters to me and maybe to the next buyer. Is, you know, the original owner's manual, 2 sets of keys. Everyone asks that. Do you have both sets of keys? Heck yeah, I do. So that crosses another thing off of the list, and we are well on our way with this Trans Am. We basically completely knocked out the interior, fixed the completely burned up rear seat, got a beautiful looking seat bottom in there, so that's all done. We repaired our door panel using parts from 2 different door panels, got rid of that atrocious crack in that one. We fixed the power steering leak, we fixed the ABS light, traction control light. Windshield wiper cowl is replaced and looking brand new. Oh yeah, just for funsies, I decided to try and restore this door panel, like I said. Sanded it all down. What the hardest part is, and I'm open to suggestions if you guys have any, is matching the factory texture when you've done a repair in an area like this. How do you match the fake leather texture on a piece of plastic? What I came up with was a combination of using that seat repair kit, those little pads that I had that are supposed to mimic that pattern. But what worked even better was taking the spray can. I'm using Duplicolor vinyl and fabric. This is flat black. I stood like 3 feet away and just spritzed it on there, so it basically splotched on there. Now I need to repaint this whole panel to kind of blend it out because I was laying it on so thick here. But I think when I do, get this all one consistent color, this is gonna look pretty darn good. Compared to how this thing looked when we first started, I think with a consistent coat of paint, if you weren't looking for this, you wouldn't see it. This came out pretty good, just kind of splotching and matching that factory texture. So let me know if you guys are interested in seeing the final outcome here. I'll get the cloth panel back on this one, and then we'll have a spare door panel for another project, or we can throw it up on Facebook, see if someone else needs it. But basically $8 involved in fixing this thing for a tube of JB plastic weld. Most of the major issues, well I say major, but most of the issues that this car had are now fixed. What's left up on the board? Repaint the bumper. There's a small dent in the quarter panel. We need a PDR. That taillight, I gotta see if I can find a replacement one or maybe fix that one. I'm not sure yet. Then it's just the paint correct and interior detail. We could send this thing down the road, make some money, and be done with it. But you'll also notice I crossed out the surging idle. And that's because I'm not gonna deal with it, because I bought some stuff for this thing that's gonna make the idle surge in a different way. So why bother trying to diagnose that when we're just gonna be doing something else? You guys already know. We weren't leaving this thing stock. I just can't do it. So I got boxes stacking up outside, or actually just out of frame here in the garage. And in the next video, we're gonna be pulling this thing apart, throwing some mods at it. I think you guys know where this is headed, but it's going to be a lot of fun. This thing is going to look and sound incredible when I'm done with it, but we are a long way from there. Plenty of awesome content coming. If you guys enjoy this content, give it a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you in the next one. Well, here it is, guys, the finished product. This is the door panel that had a 1-inch crack right here. Not perfect, and you probably could do a little more work to blend that. If anyone has any tips on how they would blend something like this, let me know. But overall, much better than a door panel with a huge crack in it, and that paint is like a perfect match for the ebony. Whatever that was, Duplicolor, flat black, vinyl and fabric. So anyways, if anyone wants this door panel, message me on Instagram. You can have it for free if you can pick it up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and show me that your Firebird or Trans Am is in need of a door panel. It's all yours. Let me know.